Yeah, I'm Ross Bagurdes. I want to talk about how ignorance ignorance gives you blisters. It gave me blisters. Can you go to the next slide? So I want to talk about my first backpacking trip. There's me when I'm 20 years old. That was a long time ago now. If you notice, my friend's backpack is quite large, and that's a Pelican case on the top of it. If you don't know what a Pelican case is, it's a very heavy plastic case that the military uses on boats and stuff to keep stuff dry. So my first backpacking trip was to the Appalachian Mountains, Great Smoky Mountain National Park in eastern Tennessee. And my friends and I saved up for our entire summer, spending lots of fun times at the sporting goods store, buying lots of great gear. I learned an appreciation for the outdoors from my parents, going car camping as a kid. And the way we went car camping was we filled up the trunk of our car with as much junk from our house that we could possibly bring along. So when I first went backpacking, my young, naive self wouldn't read a book or a magazine about how to properly go backpacking. I just packed my backpack like I was going car camping, which meant that I brought along a pair of jeans for every day that I was backpacking. So I had 4 pair of jeans. I had 3 pair of shorts, 4 t-shirts, at least 6 pair of underwear for 4 days because, you know, you're going to stop in the middle of the day and change your underwear or something. And it gets more embarrassing than that. I brought a 35 millimeter camera with 2 lenses. I brought a cooking grate to put over the fire, a metal cooking grate to put over the fire to cook food that we didn't bring. I brought a stool. I brought a folding stool that you could sit on. And then it gets more embarrassing, if that's not bad enough. I brought Kool-Aid. I don't know if you guys know what Kool-Aid is, but it's a little powdered drink mix that you mix with some sugar. So instead of just bringing enough sugar to mix with the small amount of Kool-Aid I brought, I actually brought a 5-pound bag of sugar, which is 2.2 kilos. I put that in my backpack as well. And I mean, there's countless other things in this pack. It ended up weighing 120 pounds. I had a 120-pound backpack. That's 54 kilograms. And we're doing a 14-mile hike, we're doing a 30-mile hike up and down a mountain. There's about a 500-meter incline, and the Appalachians are very steep to hike. So we didn't think about things like water. Right, so the first day we hike, and we end up hiking to a river, and it was about only 2/3 of the way that we wanted to get that day. But we were by a river, so we were able to fill up with water and prep for the next day, which was a 14-mile hike, 22 kilometers, up a mountain, across the top, and back down. And we get to the top of the mountain the next day. The night before I tried to prep, I burned one of my pair of pants to try to lighten the load, you know, and it didn't save much, of course, maybe a pound. But anyway, the next day we hike up the mountain. My legs were wildly cramped, right? By the time we got to the top, we were out of water. I was hungry. The water source on the map wasn't there anymore because it was late summer and it had dried up. So we had no access to water on top of this mountain. We're dehydrated and thirsty. We were very lucky to run into a forest ranger who let us use her water filter and fill up at this tiny little spring at the top of the mountain. That was enough water to get us through the rest of the day, where we rationed it all day to the point where we just had a little bit left at the end of this 14-mile hike that we somehow miraculously made it through with intense blisters on my feet and cramps in my legs. That night, my friend and I were sitting, the guy with the backpack here, we're sitting, and we watched my other friends wash their faces and feet with the rest of the water that we had, and we cried. It's a wonder that I've made it through this trip. We did make it out successfully. My feet were blistered, my legs were cramped, and I walked away with some great experience of how ignorance causes severe problems in our life and how to be much wiser about it. Thank you.